Senator John McCain has been incredibly vocal in his calls to reject Gina Haspel as the CIA nominee. And in fact, he released a statement that apparently has upset one military analyst at Fox News and prompted him to say something pretty terrible and false about McCain. Now, first, let's start off with McCain's statement. He said the following: "I believe Gina Haspel is a patriot who loves our country and has devoted her professional life to its service and defense." He continues to say, though, "However, Ms. Haspel's role in overseeing the use of torture by Americans is disturbing. Her refusal to acknowledge torture's immorality is disqualifying. I believe the Senate should exercise its duty of advice and consent and reject this nomination." Now, during the Senate confirmation hearings, there were some questions that Haspel didn't answer in a way that made McCain comfortable. So for instance, Senator Harris had asked her, would you, with hindsight, criticize the enhanced interrogation that took place under your watch? And she refused to criticize the CIA for torture and those interrogation methods. And so, of course, that raised a few eyebrows. And John McCain has been very vocal in saying how against torture he is, because he himself was a victim of torture when he was a prisoner of war in Vietnam.
Yeah, so Gina Haspel said that, well, I mean, I wouldn't do it now because it's illegal. No, first of all, it was always illegal. Yes, the Senate doubled down in 2015 and made all of it, I don't know what you call it, extra illegal, but waterboarding was always illegal under US law. It also under international law, but I know right-wingers don't care about anyone else in the world and international law, et cetera. But it doesn't matter, it was illegal under US law. Torture was illegal under US law. Gina Haspel broke those laws. She authorized the torture of many detainees in the black sites she ran in Thailand, including Abu Zubaydah, who was waterboarded 83 times. If it works, why did you have to waterboard him 83 times? No, it was sick, it was depraved, it violated our principles and our laws. And then she destroyed 92 tapes of evidence of the torture because it was damning. Yes. And that is also against the law. She should be in prison, not running the CIA. So even McCain is way too soft on her. And then when asked whether she'd do it again if she's confirmed as the head of the CIA, she says, well, now it's legal. That's not true, it's always been. And she says, and I wouldn't do it even if, quote, even if it was technically legal. Wait, are you again disputing whether it's technically legal or not? No, she did it before, she'd do it again.
And she destroyed evidence. I mean, that by itself is an admission of guilt. It's just incredible that she had such a hard time answering that question from Kamala Harris. Yeah, it was wrong, but obviously she doesn't really feel that it was wrong, which is probably part of the reason why Trump nominated her to begin with. Now, McCain has gotten some hate from the right in regard to his comments on Haspel, and nothing made that clearer than an interview on Fox Business Channel, which doesn't seem to ever really talk about business. Now, during this exchange, which you're about to see, you will hear from Fox's military analyst and how he feels about John McCain. Take a look.
Senator John McCain has said he's not going to endorse Haspel also, in part because she believes in torture, that she thinks it works, even though she laid out at least 3 instances where it did work to the benefit of humankind, not just Americans, but all human beings. Should they be evaluating this nominee on her feelings or based strictly on the facts and her commitment not to use it anymore because it's no longer legal for us?
Well, she can't use it anymore because we've determined, the Congress, that it's not legal. The fact is John McCain, it worked on John. That's why they call him Songbird John. The fact is those methods can work and they're effective, as former Vice President Cheney said.
No, they're not. First of all, they're not effective. Secondly, who calls John McCain Songbird John? I mean, he's spreading misinformation about John McCain giving Vietnam our military secrets, which was not the case, which has been debunked.
There is no bottom of the barrel for these. They're the worst people on earth. So I don't want to defend John McCain. I think John McCain's a warmonger. He always votes for war. He always pushes for war. He pushes into war with Iran. The one good thing that John McCain does is he fights against torture, and that's because he was tortured. But the other thing that I've always mentioned in regards to John McCain, even when in the heat of the 2008 election, I wanted Barack Obama to win and to defeat John McCain, and we would criticize McCain in 1,000 ways, which he more than earned. But I said a million times, McCain was given an opportunity to leave after being tortured for an incredibly long time by the North Vietnamese because they found out he was the son of a famous admiral. And he refused to leave because they wouldn't let the other Americans in the camp out. And then he stayed for years after that. That act of bravery is unparalleled. So however much I disagree with John McCain on 1,000 other issues, that's the one thing you cannot take away from McCain. So what does Fox do? Fox comes out and sends out a hatchet man to lie that John McCain broke under torture. They're the worst people on earth. They're unbelievable.
So just to clarify again, people do not call John McCain Songbird John.
It's made up.
You
know what it is? It's fake news.
It is, and so it did not originate from that exchange that you just saw. It actually came from one of John McCain's political opponents named Gerard Kiley, who doesn't identify with any political party. And he apparently put out flyers years ago claiming that John McCain had caved to those that were torturing him in Vietnam. That was not the case. So PolitiFact debunked this, and they did a good job doing so. In fact, one of the biographers for John McCain, his name is Robert Timberg, he wrote a book on McCain, had interviewed a number of POWs about McCain, and he said, quote, "I've never known of any occasion in which Senator McCain provided the North Vietnamese with anything of value. Now, when he was later interrogated, McCain gave the ship's name and squadron number and confirmed the target of his failed mission," he wrote. He also gave the names of the Green Bay Packers offensive line and said they were members of his squadron. So that further proves that under this enhanced interrogation or torture, oftentimes the person who's imprisoned and being tortured will just lie and say anything to stop the torture.
Yeah, and I hate that we're going into the nitty-gritty of having to defend John McCain during his torture. And by the way, the information he gave is the information you're supposed to give if you're captured. The US military tells you you're allowed to give X, Y, and Z. And so he did everything right, but that doesn't stop Fox News from doing their some people say. Another lunatic right-winger once said this about John McCain, so I'm now saying it, and then somebody else on Fox News will say it, and then Donald Trump would say it. And of course, Donald Trump famously did say about John McCain during the campaign, "I prefer people who weren't captured." And of course, Donald Trump wasn't captured because he didn't go to Vietnam because he's a coward and a cheat who had his daddy write him a doctor's letter about bone spurs he never had. So that's who Donald Trump is, and that's who the people at Fox are. At least Charles Payne had the decency to apologize afterwards and complain that he had the control room in his ear and had not heard that comment. Otherwise, he would have corrected it as a veteran.
The fact that he apologized, though, gave me a little bit of hope because that means that there are people on the right who found those comments as disgusting as I found them.
But Anna, this is how it starts. They do today, but you know what? Someone else will say it on Fox and another person, and you'll wake up 3 months from now and there'll be a poll of Republicans and 78% of them will think that John McCain talked to the North Vietnamese and helped them. Because they're in the lie business. So they'll lie over and over again. They're a factory of lies. And we treat Fox with some sort of credibility. They are at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. In fact, they had their correspondent lead that group for years and years and years. They're a factory of lies. They're the original fake news. But the rest of the media, well, I don't know, I might get a job at Fox News one day, so I'm just gonna pretend that they're decent human beings. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.